Our next speaker has a long investment career with focus on the markets of Central and Eastern Europe. The Vice President of Intel Capital and Managing Director for Eastern Europe, the Middle East and Africa at Intel Corporation. Please welcome Marcin Hejka.
Good afternoon. So you heard from my predecessor that Intel is the largest semiconductor company globally. Now you also know that Intel is an investor, and as investor, we believe we are one of the largest, if not the largest, technology-focused venture capital investor globally. But I would like to start with talking about our vision of evolution of the compute ecosystem, and how we got to where we are today, how we got to the IoT. So it all started in the 60s with mainframes, and moved over to client-server architecture in the 90s, web. In 2000s, cloud, and we are now entering the era of Internet of Things. And there is certain evolution. So as you can see, number one, devices were getting more and more connected. The number of devices was increasing. So actually, if we are talking about mainframes, we are talking probably about single millions of devices. Client-server architecture, we were talking about tens of millions, hundreds of millions of laptops, where energy is being produced, which is being then distributed to consumers, and very little information coming back. And it's going to change. We see energy sector as one of the key adopters in the next couple of years of IoT. Where basically the number of with solar panels and wind farms, the number of points where energy is being created growing significantly, and with intelligence being used, first sensors capturing information about the use of energy on the consumer level, and transferring it back and enabling energy generation and energy distribution companies to manage the network in an intelligent way, to optimize network capacity, to introduce negative cost of electricity, to encourage users to move demand to some other time. So we will see a lot of changes happening in this space. Another area is obviously telecommunications, where once again, with every new generation, the number of base stations is increasing big way. So the introduction of 4G, 5G is also related with millions of new base stations being installed. Topology of networks becoming more and more complicated, with significantly more network elements being connected and potentially interfering, and potentially a lot of problems popping up in the network. So we will see here the growth of self-organizing networks. We are also talking about connectivity that is designed especially for IoT segment. So we are talking, for example, about special communication protocols that can work with very limited use of power. So those of you who follow this space might have noticed that one of our portfolio companies, Sigfox, which is actually developing connected devices that can operate without a charging for 10 years, has just raised significant funding. And we are talking now about sensors that can be actually embedded into roads and operate for a decade without any charging. And in our opinion, the key element of the IoT ecosystem is obviously the server part or the cloud part. Ultimately, sensors and end devices are becoming cheaper. That's why they are becoming more and more common. So basically, many of those sensors are gonna cost or already cost only a couple of dollars, and every device has multiple sensors already embedded into it. And all they do, they gather data. One passenger plane can during one flight can collect 1 terabyte of data. Through monitoring the various airplane systems, engines, etc. And there is not enough intelligence on the client, on the end side, to process that. So we see very dynamic growth of the cloud, of the big data part of the IoT space. Ultimately, all the data captured by all those devices, all those wearables, all those new devices is ending up in the cloud, being processed by sophisticated big data software. We see the emergence of software that is able to find dependencies and links that are not even visible when you look at it, at a first glance. So there are already systems, many of them we actually also invested in, even in this region, which are specialized in analyzing huge databases of totally unstructured data gathered by those devices and extracting intelligence that can be turned into useful data, can be translated into useful business actions by enterprises. Going forward, IoT is going to result with intelligence being present everywhere. So we are all going to be surrounded by intelligent and connected devices. I really liked the movie that we showed only a couple of minutes ago. So basically the systems will be adjusted to us. Our ecosystem will be adjusted to make human life more comfortable on multiple levels. It's actually we are going in the direction of driverless cars. It may not be a science fiction anymore in not so distant future. Actually, already it seems that for many of those applications, the key limiting factor is legal system and regulations. So in most countries, you cannot actually use driverless cars outside of your property on public roads, but in Tesla it's either being tested or already made available on a pilot basis. But you can actually tell your car to move itself from a garage and move to in front of your door to make it easier for you when you're ready to leave your house. Intel is active in this space. So on top of investing and we have invested in multiple companies from the IoT space, new devices space, wearable space. We are actually also supplying some devices and some technologies that can be used in this segment. So a couple of technologies developed by Intel, which I would like to highlight. Intel Edison, which is actually the very small size board, fully functioning technically computer that can be used for fast prototyping new devices. Quite recently, we actually developed a new computing platform, which is basically a size of a button or a coin, which is once again fully functional computing platform with memory, with central processing unit, with communications that can be used in devices, in various devices and things. We actually also produce a number of devices ourselves, like headsets that are measuring your pulse, health trackers. Like you can see a smartwatch, which is actually Basis, the company Intel acquired. That is also a smartwatch with quite developed health monitoring and health tracking functions. Few words about what I do, investing. So Intel Capital, as you can see, we are investing globally. And we are, as mentioned, we believe we are one of the largest technology-focused venture investors. We invested over $11 billion in over 1,400 companies over the last 20 years. So pretty much every year we are investing in roughly 100 technology companies globally. More and more in our region. There are certain areas of focus, so it's been changing over time, and if you take a look at list of investment priorities that we have at this point of time, you will see that actually many of them are connected directly or indirectly to IoT segment, including storage, data center, cloud infrastructure, new devices and wearables, security, software and services, perceptual computing. Few words about how we invest. So we are stage agnostic. We can pretty much invest at any stage. We can invest pretty much any amount. So we are investing from seed to public companies, and our investments can be 250,000 and it can be $250 million. Actually, the smallest deal we've done was 100,000. The biggest one was 1.6 billion in a single deal. And one thing that is very important is that we are providing much more than just the money. So our role, we perceive our role as value-added investor. We would like to support companies that we invest into. We would like to help them to grow. And to the extent that if we cannot support our portfolio companies, we do not invest. We have very solid track record. Some of the companies here are actually companies from our region, like EVG, MOL, are Central Eastern European companies. And I think I'm gonna stop here. So once again, I'm going to be available today for the rest of the day and tomorrow. If anyone would like to touch base and discuss anything, looking forward to it. Thank you very much.